everyone, Siren here. We are back with another deck profile. This time it is being Tamaki Amajiki. Amajiki is a character who has recently taken the meta by storm, not so much recently, but this past year. Thanks to the support in Yu Hakusho, and now we have even more support in Girl Power. Amajiki is a fairly simple character at first glance. At the start of your end phase, you may add up one attack from your card pool to your momentum face up. They're from a static text. Enhanced once per turn. This attack gets plus X or minus X damage, where X equals your face up momentum plus 2. And then once per game enhanced to choose up to 3 momentum. If they are face up, flip them and then unflip them. Something that looks very simple on the surface, but something that takes a lot of practice and dedication, almost like 0-1 did, to be able to do well and withstand the onslaught of attacks coming towards you, since you're a 7 hand size, 20 health here. First up, we'll start with our attacks. We have, for our 5 diff attacks, we have 2 Vast Cyber Chimera Kraken, 2 Armor of the Ape, 3 Armor of the Wolves, and 4 Black Abyss. Let me scoot that up a little bit. We've got this whole top area to work with, don't we? There. Black Abyss is the new staple chaos momentum trick shenanigans. It has the momentum enhance of once per turn. This attack gets plus X speed and plus X damage. X equals the number of copies of Black Abyss in your momentum. And that's repeatable. So you can go Black Abyss for 3, Black Abyss for 3, and Black Abyss for 3 on all 3 copies. Kind of insane. I could see it potentially getting an errata, but I'm not entirely sure. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with it. 2 Vast Cyber Chimera Kraken. This card was insanely good in the deck. I regret not having my 3rd and 4th copies come in the mail in time. Committing and freezing something is just so huge in this format, where every foundation tends to matter. And then committing an asset in this format with things like Knots Flash, Twisty Surroundings, and Edom Box. Being able to just get rid of that off the rip is insanely huge. Definitely a card I will be playing 4 of, if not at least 3 in the upcoming format, once I get my other 2 copies in the mail. Next is 2 Armor of the Ape. This was a card I was kind of scoffing at first. It didn't seem all that great, you know. It was like, oh, cool, -1 damage. Not realizing how much momentum Amajiki can generate. But once Amajiki starts to generate that momentum, this card becomes huge. I've had it for had it get 8 speed, 8 damage by turn 3. Being able to just go, okay, here is a 12 mid for 13 catch. It either is going to bait that block out, or they're just going to have to take a 12 mid for 13, depending on the situation. And 13 damage can be a hell of a lot this format. And then lastly is 3 Armor of the Wolf. Armor of the Wolf is a card I still think is really good in the deck. I've seen some lists start to cut it, but I still think it's one of the better attacks in the deck. +1 damage can be such a game changer, even when you can do things like +9 with Amajiki. And then the response to just continuously give it damage, to either go for game or make them use up their block on it, can really make the game state different, because then you can go into something, something like a Armor of the Wolf to start, play an Armor of the Ape afterwards, and then you are gonna hit like a Tonka truck. If anyone gets the reference, you'll hit like a Tonka truck, hurt real hard. But anyway, for our 4 diff attacks, we have 2 Diving Phoenix Crush, 3 Claw Stopper, and 4 Armor of the Phoenix. Armor of the Phoenix is a card I'm still enjoying a lot. +1 speed on every attack can be a make or break in certain situations. And then giving itself +2 speed as long as you have a momentum, which in Amajiki is almost guaranteed, is something where, I don't know, I just think the card is still really good. I think until a better replacement comes out, I will continue to play it. But it's all personal preference at the end of the day. Claw Stopper is a card, again, I think is really good. I don't think it needs to come out of the deck at all. Momentum once per turn, being able to draw and then discard, essentially mulliganing your hand however you want it to end up. can be massive in this game, and then Breaker 1 on top of that, and the ability to draw if you have a momentum if you play it as an attack. All insanely good abilities. And with Amajiki, you can guarantee at least something's gonna hit, so you can play like 2 attacks a turn, go a 5 diff into a 4 diff. If the 4 diff hits, cool. If the 5 diff hits, cool. You just add the other one in, so you always get those momentum you need. Diving Phoenix Crush is the card I'm kind of torn on in the deck. I think it could work. I just think 2 more copies of Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken are better. If not that, 3 copies of Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken and a 4th Claw Stopper. The card is great, don't get me wrong, and it's a great block bait. It's just never come up to the point where I would prefer to have it over anything else. It was always a, dang, I really drew into this card. Dang, I really drew into this card. It was never something I wanted to play. It was always just, that's what was in my hand. But anyway, moving on to our foundation lineup. For our Zero Diffs, we have 4 copies of Easily Excited and 4 copies of Basic Training. These are just the staple Chaos Zero Diffs right now. And in this list, the space was so tight I couldn't fit Master's Pride in, but once these rotate out, Master's Pride will come in and something else. I haven't decided on the other card yet, but there definitely will be something I can find that'll fit in for what I need. Basic Training will get replaced with Master's Pride, and then Easily Excited will get replaced with something else, but +1 damage, or +1 speed and +1 damage once per turn as a response. Really good in this game. Next, for defensive foundations, we have 4 Fast Friendship, 3 Struggling with Studies, and 3 Chivalrous Competitor. Fast Friendship is just some of the best speed hate in the game right now. -3 speed most of the time can be really huge. -2 still is pretty insane. So you definitely can't complain about it. A 3 high block mod isn't great, but you're never going to play it as a block. You're always going to build it down. Struggling with Studies was a weird card. I very rarely used it to pick something back up. I more used it to get around characters trying to flip my foundations and just flipping it instead. This deck, it doesn't really need a bunch of the foundations, but the few that it does need, it really needs. So it was really important having that ability. I'm not sure if this card will stay in the list for forever, or at least until it rotates out, but it definitely pulled its weight in the LCQ I took this deck to. Playing against a Kirishima player where they were trying to flip my foundations constantly and being able to just go, okay, Struggling with Studies, and Chivalrous Competitor for the same reason, but on top of that, being able to stop destruction effects. I think Struggling is great. It just wasn't great in my matches because no one was playing with more than 2 attacks in a turn. So I never got to use that enhance of being able to grab something like a Manifest back or just a really good block back or something like that. And then 3 Chivalrous Competitor, it's draw and defense all in one card. Enough said, it's been really good. There's a reason it's in every deck pretty much right now that can play it at least. But further on the draw, we've got 4 Fearsome Transformation. It is the best draw card in Chaos, I think. And it's definitely the best in Amajiki, where it's essentially just free draw. Yeah, enough said. I think that this is the best draw card in the game. Because it is... Yeah, you have to discard 1, but who cares if you're going for that kill turn? Or you're digging for the block. But then offensively, we've got 3 Nejire-chan, the big 3, and 3 Cruel Intent to buff stats. Nejire is there also as a deadlock breaker. Being able to stay out of deadlock is really important since we're going into that longer game. And then Cruel Intent, giving things +2 speed is good. Making them flip something is good. Overall, really good card. Moving on, we've got 2 Forced Quirk Activation. This card was originally Steaming Sphere's power when I took it to the LCQ, but after some more testing and the LCQ experience, I found this card to just be better, even if it is a 4-check. Being able to put something like a Black Abyss or a Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken in can make or break it, especially a Black Abyss where it goes from a +2/+2 to a +3/+3 repeatably. And then destroying it and make them use an enhance or just pass on enhances for the rest of an attack can be really huge. Next is some more defensive tools. We've got 2 Nice Try, 2 Broken Psyche, and 3 Protecting Yukina. My favorite between these two is definitely Protecting Yukina. I understand it's not the greatest because it is requiring you to keep the card in your hand, but I never found myself enjoying Broken Psyche as much as I did Protecting Yukina, because still taking 2 damage, I almost would rather just use Amajiki's ability to make it 0 damage for the price of a momentum. Still having to take 2 can be huge when you're a 20 health, and that's a 10th of your health. Nice Try is one of the best speed hates we have right now, still in the game. -2 speed, and then being able to re-ready if you committed on your turn can definitely help in longer games and games where you're playing against a character, and just games where you check poorly too. More than likely, Broken Psyche will become a 3rd Nice Try and a 4th Fast Hybrid Chimera Kraken, which we'll go over in a minute. For the rest of the deck, for the rest of the foundations, it's 2 Incredible Display, 3 Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken. I really enjoyed Incredible Display, especially the commit after you block with a foundation effect. I didn't enjoy the response canceling as much as I thought I would, just because it says non-character responses, and a lot of responses are based on the characters. Vast Hybrid, it's Vast Hybrid. It's so good in this deck. It's essentially a unique foundation that's not really unique, and it's definitely going to go up to a 4 of. The only thing that sucks is drawing multiple of it in one hand, but even then you just hold on to it for the next turn, play it, and then continue on. It's never a make or break. It's a card you always want to see, so it never feels bad when you see multiples of it, especially since it's got that form to buff your attacks for the turn, and being able to then just go, okay, stuff it in momentum. Alright, now I can play the other one in my hand. The rest of the deck is just 2 Manifest and 1 Cape of No Return. Manifest is pretty standard, being able to throw something in momentum on the defense especially is what I used it for. And then drawing a card is really good. And then Cape of No Return, I might bump it up to a 2 of. I was really enjoying it, being able to just be like, okay, you bumped up this attack so much. Okay, cape it. Alright, it's gone. Cool. It not being a first enhance is really what makes that work so well. And I just think the card is really good still. But yeah, that's the main deck. Moving into the sideboard, we've got 2 Runaway, 3 number 5 Pro Hero, 3 Training with Gunhead, and 2 Cool and Tough. There we go. Runaway was mainly just for survivability again. Playing it with characters like Byakko and Endeavor 3 who can buff stats to the moon and back, but play low base damage attacks. Runaway is really great, and then being able to clog their card pool is also insanely good. Number 5 was just Echo Hate and Combo Hate. There's a lot of Echo attacks being played right now, Trace Eyes especially being one of them, in Mina too. So being able to stop the Echo is what's really important there, not so much flipping it, but more just being able to stop the Echo. Cool and Tough was my momentum hate answer. And it's a card that still had a presence on the board. If it wasn't, it was because it has a very strong deadlock enhance to be able to ready 2 things by readying one of your rival's foundations. And I think it's the best momentum hate answer we have right now, currently in the game, at least from what I can think of. And then Training with Gunhead was a card where it was throw hate mainly, and then I wanted my throw hate to have some other kind of effect. So being able to make it so Vast Hybrid, being able to bump my checks up, and then being able to use this to give things speed because of that, was really great. It was really important. It was really important to me that everything in my sideboard, even if it wasn't for the original purpose I intended it to, most of it still had some kind of purpose as far as placing it in the deck goes. But that was my Amajiki list. It's a fairly... I'm trying to think of the word. Samey. It's nothing crazy. It's the generic slam build that most people play, just with a few little twists and certain card choice preferences being thrown in there. But it did great at the LCQ. I got 5th out of, I believe, 9-ish people. Or no, I got 4th, my apologies. I got 4th out of 9-ish people, and I only lost to another Amajiki player, managing to take down a Mina and a Kirishima too. So I definitely can't complain about the deck's performance, and with it being the first time I ran the deck competitively, it was definitely something I was proud of myself for being able to come on fourth with. But that was Siren. This has been a Amajiki deck profile, and I'll see y'all later. Have a good one.